The other declaratory suit is with regard to groundless threat. So, patentees may at times issue threats that they are going to file an infringement action. Now, the threat could be in a public forum, it could be a press release, it could be a veiled threat, it could be a direct threat in a negotiation. It could have, I mean, if you look at the case laws, there are multiple ways in which a threat can manifest. But the essence of a threat is that the patentee tells the other person or communicates the message that he is about to file a patent suit or he is about to file an infringement suit against the potential infringer. Now, the potential infringer, just as he had a right to approach the court in 105 to state that I am not infringing, he can approach the court stating that a person, a patentee or people who claim right from the patentee, is threatening by way of circulars or advertisement or by communications, oral or in writing, with proceedings of infringement of a patent, and can approach the court with three broad reliefs. One, declaration that the threats are unjustifiable, saying that it's an empty or a groundless threat, it's unjustifiable, or to say that with that patent you cannot sue me, or I have my own right as to why I am doing this, you cannot threaten me with an infringement suit. Two, the person can ask for a relief of injunction against continuance of such threats to stop the person from making any further threats, and can also claim damages if he had sustained any loss or any injury. Now, this provision is hardly used because once a potential infringer approaches the court with a proceeding of groundless threat, the court can only issue a declaration if the court finds that the threats are unjustifiable. The patentee is making threats which are unjustifiable. The easiest thing the patentee can do is to file an infringement suit, because once he files the infringement suit, the threat ceases to be a threat. The threat has now manifested in a form of a proceeding. Earlier, the patentee was issuing threats that he will file an infringement suit, but he was not doing anything. Now, when the patentee files an infringement suit, it ceases to be a threat, or rather the threat is now carried out into an action. In that case, this entire proceeding will now get converted into an infringement suit. So, this is strategically used. Sometimes a potential infringer wants to move to the court first for whatever advantage they may get by moving to a court first. So, this is used strategically, and this would eventually get converted into a infringement suit, because once the patentee alleges infringement, the color of the suit changes, then it becomes an infringement suit, and the potential infringer can then raise grounds of invalidity under section 64. So, this could be a way in which, to get some kind of a certainty, the potential infringer can approach the court with a declaratory suit, but soon the patentee will raise issues of infringement and the case would then get converted into an infringement suit. So, it is a strategic tool, it has to be used exercising some caution, and there has to be a logic or a strategy behind doing this. Now, another instance where this proceedings could be used is to determine the jurisdiction. Now, if the patentee is in one jurisdiction and the defendant or the potential infringer is in another jurisdiction, there is a likelihood that the patentee could choose the jurisdiction where he wants to approach first. Now, using 106, the defendant can approach the court first and request, if there is another proceeding filed in another jurisdiction of equal standing, say High Court in one state and the High Court in the other state, it could request the matter to proceed in the court which first looked at the issue. There are ways in which these issues can be resolved. So, this could also be strategically used to determine infringement. Now, the logic of this proceeding 106 is that a threat cannot be like a sword of Damocles hanging over the head of a business, because at the end of the day, if somebody is affected by a threat, it could largely have a bearing on his business, his manufacture, his production, or his sale of goods. Now, the law states that there has to be certainty. You cannot forever live in an environment of a threat that somebody could file a suit against you and stop your manufacture and seize your goods. Rather, it's better that the sword comes down and it either materializes into an infringement suit or it materializes into a declaration for not allowing such threats to continue. So, the law stands for certainty, and this provision can be used if there is a threat which is not followed by an action to move the person into some kind of an action.